All right, hello again. Welcome back. So I watched a live yesterday, last night. Well, I'm not real sure what time it was, UK time, but or North Carolina time, but I did actually end up watching Dave and Ronnie and the big thing about Shanann being pregnant by Chris Miller, which is a complete freaking lie. Chris Miller actually put out a video on YouTube a few months back stating why Dave keeps saying that. I mean, it's absolutely disgusting that he talks about the dead at all, let alone to say that she, was cheating on Chris and whatnot. I mean, I don't understand why he does it. I don't think I'll ever understand why he does it. I'm pretty sure he does it to get, like, super chats and what have you and whatever, whatever kind of money he can get. But I mean, it's not really worth it to me to, well, uh, just talk so poorly about someone who's dead. I mean, I just don't understand it. I never will understand it. There's no money in the world that would ever make me want to lie on someone, let alone lie on someone who's dead. I've tried to wrap my head around it multiple times, and I can't come up with, you know, nothing other than it's for money. I mean, I'm pretty sure, Dave splits the earnings with the Watts family. And I want to put this out there too. He states that, Sandy is making fun of her, basically saying she must be psychic. The spear went through her head, and it's all fun and games, because it's not his family. It's not anyone he knows or he thinks about. I mean, it's just so disgusting that he talks so poorly of everyone in Shanann's family, including Shanann. And he has the audacity to sit there and showboat about a stupid jersey and go into the gravesite of the children and Shanann and making it like some big deal that he had a jersey that Chris wore. I mean, why are you so proud of, wearing the jersey of a murderer? I'll never understand that either. I mean, why would anyone in their right mind take a stroll into the cemetery wearing a jersey of the person that murdered them? I don't understand it. I never will understand it. I think it's disgusting, and I feel so bad for Frankie and big Frankie and Sandy that they can't do anything. I mean, if it was me, I would put a restraining order out stating that, well, the Watts would not be allowed near my daughter and my granddaughters for the simple fact that, they go out there just to, like, no, I don't want to say intimidate because that's like too strong a word, but like they go out there to just like, I don't know, aggravate really. I mean, it's not like they're genuinely going out there grieving. I mean, they're putting out chairs and taking photos and then sending them to Dave, and he's putting it on his live chat. Like, what's with all the publicity? I mean, I go visit my brother and my mother and my grandparents in private. That's not something, if I'm going to grieve and I'm going to spend time, I don't want to like take pictures and pull up a chair and, just be disgusting about it. And they're being disgusting. I mean, if they were going there to generally grieve, then I would like understand a little bit, but they're not going there to grieve. They're going there to aggravate. And I think it's such a shame that no one can stop it. And it's pitiful that you got, these people like in their early 60s going to the graveyard of where their grandchildren are buried, and they're like pulling up a chair and having a cigarette and like smiling and waving at the camera, acting like a complete, you know, heartless idiots. I just don't understand. When I go visit my mother or my grandparents or my brother, I like to be like alone and I want to sit there in the grass and I want to lean against their tombstone and I want to say things and, just pray a little bit and just have that time, with me and them. I don't want to pull up a chair and have someone photograph me and then send it to a YouTuber and be like, "Oh, look at me. I'm at the grave where my brother's at." And I'm like giddy and like so happy that I'm here. And we're going to share it all over YouTube and then we're going to make some money. It's disgusting. I don't understand. If you're going to generally grieve over your granddaughters, then fucking do it in private. You don't sit there in a fucking chair waving at a goddamn camera. Like, for what reason? I'll tell you the reason. For money. That's it. And then you got the fucking balls to sit there and run your fucking mouth about Frankie and Sandy and Big Frank. I mean, what is your grounds, really? I don't believe I see one photo of Frankie or Frank or Sandy pulled up in a fucking chair waving at a fucking camera by the graves. So you tell me who's the sick one. You tell me who the fucking greedy liars are. And then, Dave, you're so fucking despicable. There's one thing for you, and it's called a fucking bullet in the back of your head. That's what you deserve to sit there on your fucking computer talking about a dead woman who cannot fucking defend herself. That would be like someone saying, "Oh, well, you know what? Dave's drunk mother molested 15 kids before she died." That would be so freaking wrong, wouldn't it? Because she cannot defend herself. You're fucking despicable, Dave. And I swear to you, there's a fucking thing called karma, and it is coming for you. And I hope it chews you up and spits you out, because that's what you deserve to talk about the dead. You say Ronnie's your good friend, eh? I'm sure of it. I could almost guarantee you that you and Ronnie and Cindy got like a little threesome thing going on. I would bet my fucking life to it. And you know what else, Dave? As much as you defend that monster, Chris, I wouldn't doubt it one bit if you would give your right fucking arm to go to that prison and suck his fucking balls. I bet you would drop right to your knees and say, "Fill me up, Christopher. I've been waiting for this for 5 years." You're fucking disgusting, mate. And learn how to breathe through your fucking nose. I mean, I understand if you got sinus issues, like I get it, but dude, you constantly breathe through your fucking mouth and you talk like you got a fucking fat dick in it. I cannot hardly understand a word that you. I've got to put the CC on just to read along to what you're saying. I don't think anyone who sits there can actually understand you. I mean, who taught you how to fucking speak? I don't understand why you can't fucking speak appropriately. And then you want to get on here and talk about Shanann and make fun of her and say she was a whore. You don't come right out and say it because you're a coward. But, people can read between the lines. Whenever you're saying she played up on this one or she played up on that one, what's it any of your fucking business who's the fucking father of any of her children are? It's not, man. Sit down and shut your mouth. It's none of your business. It is not anyone's business who she slept with. And furthermore, to be quite frank, it wasn't no one's business who Christopher was sleeping with. But you know what? When you go and you kill your whole fucking family for a used up, washed up, old dirty pussy like hers, and it's blasted all over the fucking world, then yeah, I guess we're entitled to seeing that. But what's it your business about Shanann? You're picking on a dead woman. Like, how pathetic are you? And then you sit there and you have the audacity to let, uh, oh, what do I call him? Rollover Ronnie get on there and talk so disgusting. You know, Shanann did actually clean her home, and she did actually make dinner, and she did actually tend to her children. I mean, I don't know why you and Ronnie want to sit there and laugh and poke fun and say, oh, well, Chris kept the house spotless while doing a full time job in a hot oil field. Oh, well, Chris did it all. Well, it doesn't fucking matter. He's the father. I could imagine that he's supposed to do some things, you know? And boo hoo, if he had to work all day, who cares? I mean, my husband quite enjoys taking care of our child when he gets home because he missed him, you know, because he's a real dad. I mean, he likes to sit there and, you know, make my kid a drink in a cup or tie his shoes or take him outside to play or give him a bath. I mean, that's what daddies are supposed to do. And you can't say that Shanann didn't work because I'm pretty sure Chris said that she made like almost his full year earning one year. That's like $85,000, you know? So clearly she was working full time too while juggling the two little girls. So I don't know why you want to put it out there, Mr. Rollover Ronnie, that Shanann didn't do anything but lay on her phone. How do you know? You were in North Carolina. How the fuck do you know what went on in Colorado? You don't. And I'm gonna tell you something else. Chris fucking Watts is a goddamn liar. He is a fucking habitual liar. You will never ever be able to believe a word that comes out of his mouth. I don't give a good shit if he waits 10 more years to come out with a new story. You'd be a fool to believe it. Dave, you need to stop with the lies. You know, you remind me of one of those little high school girls, okay? And I'm going to tell you, I've been around plenty of people like you. They're called two-faced backstabbers. And that's what you are. See, you're that little high school girl that wants to hang, you know, with this group over here, like the cheerleaders. But when they don't want nothing to do with you and they throw you out, you run over here to the other girls that are not cheerleaders and you play up with them like they're your best buds. And then you talk shit about all the cheerleaders. That's what you are, Dave. You're a two faced, backstabbing liar. And people are so stupid to sit there and send you money on lies, lie after lie after lie, disparaging comment after disparaging comment on a dead lady. I mean, you're sickening, man. You're just sickening. And I'm so tired of being in your chat and then you throwing me out and deleting my comment. You know why you guys delete my comments, you and Cindy and Ronnie? Because you know I'm right. That's exactly why every time I post a comment, it gets deleted. And then I'm not allowed to talk anymore. I have to wait like 10 days before I get back on and say anything. I mean, you're pathetic. If you can dish it out, you should be able to take it. I mean, if you're so fucking certain that Nico didn't belong to Chris Watts, then how come when I say, well, hey, wait a minute now, Chris Miller and his wife put out a YouTube video quite a few months back when you first started with this dumb shit, and they set you straight and told you. Chris Miller told you with his own mouth and his own words, I never, ever had an affair with Shanann. We were strictly friends. That is it. Now, this sticking the truth with Dave, I'd appreciate it if you'd stop saying that because it's not true. You're spreading malicious lies about me and you're causing friction in my marriage with my wife. And what do? You still continue on with the lies about Chris Miller being the father. You're fucking stupid, man. You do that to make money. That is it. Can't you come up with a better lie than that? I mean, geez Louise, buddy, get it through your head. The baby belonged to Chris Watts. That is it. And you really need to leave the Rusek family alone. They do not bother you. They do not speak of you. They do not post anything about you. They don't even acknowledge you. And that's your problem. I bet if Cindy and Ronnie knew about the videos you posted a couple years back, when you were going around sexually harassing everyone, and AD had to shut you down. Guess you thought everybody forgot about that, huh? Well, I didn't. But anyway, you begged Frankie, and he's got the messages to prove it. You begged Frankie to come on your platform and talk, and he told you to piss off. And ever since then, you've had a grudge against them because they don't want to speak to you. Why don't you speak the truth, Dave? And then maybe, just maybe, they'd listen to you and talk to you. But no, since you couldn't get the Rusek family to get on there and talk to you, you go and butter up the Watts and you get them to get out there. And they are nothing but liars, just like their lying, cheating, murdering monster of a son. They're all like peas in a pod, buddy. I wouldn't believe one word out of Ronnie Watts's mouth, much less Cindy Watts. They're nothing but liars, and they're disgusting people to sit there and pull up a chair and smile and wave at a camera and take photos at the gravesite. Well, who does that? Clearly, just by Cindy's photos, clearly it does not bother her that her granddaughters are dead. It does not. And you can see it in the photos. Going out there, pulling up a chair and smiling at the camera, and then sending you the pictures to put all over YouTube. Like, for what? Oh, great. You went and visited your dead granddaughters that your son murdered. Well, congratulations. Like, what do you want? I mean, it's absolutely sickening to go to a grave and like act like that. It's so freaking, it's just irritating. I mean, I just would love to slap her out of that chair and like shake her and say, grab her by her shoulders and just shake her and say, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, who goes to their granddaughter's grave and like smiles and sits in a chair like, hi, I'm sitting here with the dead. I'm so cool. I came to visit my dead granddaughters that my son murdered. I don't, she said something in court. She said, I don't care what, or no, it was on the phone. I don't care what you did, Chris. Really? You don't care. Cindy, let me ask you again. You don't care that your son brutally fucking murdered your granddaughters? Like, what planet are you from? Like, seriously, how could you not care what he did? I tell you what, I have a son, okay? And I love my son more than anything in the world. But if he was to kill my granddaughter or granddaughters, I'm sorry. You made your bed, son, sleep in it. There's no way. No way I could sit there and say. Conveniently, his name is Chris too, but mine's on a psycho. I couldn't just sit there and look at my son and say, well, I don't care what you did, Chris, I still love you. I would probably have to say something more along the lines like, well, son, I love you, but, you murdered my granddaughters, so I don't think that this is a forgivable act. I'm going to need some time to process it. I'm going to need some time to like grieve on it and think on it. And in the meantime, you go sit in prison where you deserve to be. And if and when I get over the fact that you took away my granddaughters, perhaps I'll give you a visit. And I love my son, I do. I love my little Christopher with all of my heart and soul. He's my only son. He is my baby. And I'd do anything in the world for him. But if he was to kill my granddaughters, I don't think that I could sit there and say, "Well, I don't care what you did, Christopher. I forgive you." And then to like say, "Oh, well, I can understand like why he killed Shanann." Really? Like you can understand why your son strangled to death a pregnant woman? You can understand that? Well, maybe you're a psycho too. I mean, if you can understand it and you can actually honestly comprehend it, then perhaps you're a fucking crazy peep like he is. I mean, maybe we should find a way to get you locked up. Ugh, it's disgusting. You people are disgusting. And Dave, I swear to the high heavens, buddy, one of these days, you're gonna tread on the wrong fucking side of the street. I promise you. You're a loudmouth. You're so like evil, like in a way, you're kind of like evil and you're sickening the way you talk about the dead. You're just like disgusting. And I have no pity for you whatsoever. When karma does come and find you, I'll probably pull up a chair and I'll laugh because you well deserve it. For the way that you talk about the Rusak family, like, why can't you let them grieve in peace? Why can't you just leave them alone? Why can't anyone on YouTube fucking leave it alone? You all sit there and say, oh, it's a cover up, it's a cover up. What the fuck did they cover up? I don't understand that at all. Like, Chris is so important that the police and the detectives and like the CBI are literally going to risk their jobs and their freedom and like their families to cover up something that we all know about. Like, honestly, because let me make it quite clear when there's a quote unquote cover up, do you know what happens? Nothing. You don't hear about it. You don't know about it. You hide the body or do whatever, and you make a paper trail to lead it to someone else, and like that would be a cover up. And the only way I believe that a police officer is going to cover up a murder is if it's by another police officer that done the murder. And then you say Troy McCoy and Melissa Parrish and all those, like they help too. Oh, okay. What planet are you people from? Like, for real, I don't know. I'm ashamed to even be over here in the UK with you people. Like, honestly, you guys are so stupid. I mean, who the hell is going to cover up a murder from a man who's not even important? It's not like he's like a movie star or something. He's just Chris Watts. He was a little no one who worked in an oil field like before this. So, who's going to actually risk their freedom, their family, and their life to cover something up or to help him? The only thing I can agree to, Dave, is that whore, Nicole Kessinger. That I do believe. That dirty slut, I know she probably was right there, edging him on, saying, choke her harder, baby. We can be together. And Nicole Kessinger, she is nothing but a liar, and she will fuck a snake if somebody holds his fucking head still. And that's the truth. I mean, I don't know if you all watched that little series or not, but it was said that she wasn't just sleeping with Chris Watts. She was sleeping with like several of them, but he was the only one stupid enough to like go crazy over some strange pussy that wasn't his wife's, and like went crazy and killed everyone. He was the only one dumb enough to do that. I mean, all the other guys like did the whole like let's hit it and quit it kind of a thing and go back home to our wives and our family. But like Chris was stupid and he like went berserk because she was like sucking his dick and fucking him like 5 times a day. And I'm sorry, but if you're gonna text your best friend and say, "Oh, well, he's got kids and a wife, and he's already like been there and done that," I really don't, I don't think it's gonna be serious. Well, I'm almost certain she told him, "Look here, you and I are gonna be together, then you're gonna have to make some changes, and those changes are A, I don't want you to have any contact with the ex-wife, who she knew was his wife. I mean, we're not even gonna throw the X word in there. She knew, you know, that that was his wife. She's oh, sorry, you probably heard that. She stumbled up and she said, "Well, he took the ring and said, it's a pretty nice rock or whatever." And she said, she told him, "Well, does that mean you two are done?" Hold on a minute, Nicole. Wait at one moment, please. Let me register this in my brain. You told everyone that you thought they were at the end of the divorce. Well, all right then. Wouldn't they already be done? I mean, if they're at the end of the divorce and you're not having an affair and he's sleeping in the basement and you guys are like a real couple, then you tell me, why did you ask him? Does that, oh, how did she say it? Does that mean you two are done? Well, gee, I thought they were already done, according to you in your interview. You kind of told on yourself there, sweetheart, because you're not going to ask a man if he's done with his wife if you're under the impression that he, well, is getting a divorce or is divorced, as you called it. And you knew about the baby. I agree with AD on that one. When you walked upstairs and you went to the right of their bedroom and you saw that, that photo of baby Nico in the ultrasound picture, and you saw Shanann holding her belly, and you saw the date of the photo, you knew right then and there he was having another baby. And you want to pretend that you don't know, but you did know. And the only reason you're trying to pretend that you didn't know is to save face, because you're like, oh shit, the whole world's going to think I'm this slut that destroyed a marriage. Well, guess what, sweetheart? Pregnant or not, we're all going to think that anyway, because that's what you did. I mean, you don't sit there and fuck a man who's married, living with a woman, and then have the audacity. Hold on one moment. I'll be right back. Hold, please. All right. Now, where was I? Oh, yes. You're not going to go to a man's home that you're fucking, okay, and be like, oh, I'm going to look around. Well, oh shit. They're all actually living here. This is like a real fucking family. Like, there's photos, there is like toys from the girls, there is like, you know, life. There's life in this home, right? Right then and there, when you saw that photo, Miss Nicole, you, being a woman, well, not all women are the same, but being a woman, you, sweetheart, should have had a little bit more self respect than that and a little bit more common sense. And I'll say that because what you should have done is slapped him in the face and said, you know what? I can see right here that this is your life and you're lying to me and you just want to fuck me. And I've been fucking you and sucking your cock for like a whole month straight now. So, you know what? I don't want nothing to do with you. And you should have turned and walked away. And that should have been like the end of you and him. But you could have done something even more solid. A lot of women that I know would have done this, myself included, because I'm a bitch. See, I don't fucking play games. And I don't share men. No, thank you. Either you're gonna fuck me and be with me, or you stay with her and you work it out. That's that. There's not going to be no, I'm gonna live my home life and fuck my wife and be a dad and then go fuck my coworker and have a side chick. I don't work that way. If I would have been in that situation, I would have never got my fucking self into that situation. But see, Nicole, you're not a real woman. You wanted to be greedy, 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 and steal someone else's man because you can't find your own because you're a whore. I'm sorry, it's true. I mean, your name is pretty big. Well, it was pretty big at Anadarko. I mean, they all laughed and high fived each other for tapping your ass, because that's what you were doing. And you found one weak, pathetic man, if you want to call him that, and you were able to get what you wanted. And look how that worked out for you. Now you don't have a man. You're known as the biggest whole home wrecking slut there is in all of America, probably all of Colorado. And I'm sorry, sweetheart, you will never be Amber Fry. Never, never, never. She actually did not know that Mr. Peterson was actually married. She did not know about that little baby. I mean, she came right out on TV as nervous and as, scared as she was to do that. She still did that. And, you You begged the police to be your partner and hide you and try to keep your name clear until you could go into hiding. Now, if you were not guilty of something, Mrs. Kessinger, then why did you sell your truck? Why did your phone ping there at his home at 6:16 in the morning? If you're not guilty, Miss Kessinger, then why are you hiding? Because you're guilty of sin. That's why. And I know that you probably did not murder anyone, but I'm almost certain you came up with the idea to drop those little girls into tanks, and I'm almost positive you said take them out to Survey. I mean, you're disgusting, Nicole, for what you did. You tried to Google Amber Fry and see, if you could be like her. No, sweetheart. She actually did not know that Mr. Peterson, you know, was a dog, had a wife at home, and a child on the way. You, however, you knew about all of it, and you still laid down and did what you did. You're a disgusting homewrecker. And you told the detective, you said, well, I don't think that I was the catalyst of this, and I don't think they'd still be alive permanently. How do you know? I mean, honestly, I believe that you told him, get rid of your family, and I'll help you. And he was an idiot, and he did it. No one set him up, Mr. Dave. Okay, rollover Ronnie and Psycho Cindy. No one set up your son. No one forced him to do anything. And you know what? You can ask him until you're dead, till the day you die. He's never going to tell you shit. You know what he said? There's some things I take to my grave. Well, you know what? That's the truth. You know what he's taken to the grave? Rollover Ronnie, Psycho Cindy, Delusional Dave. You want the truth so bad, let me tell you. The truth is, he's taking it all to the grave. He's taking the truth with him to the grave. He's never going to tell you nothing. I mean, he tried to like soften the blow and tell you things and tell the detective things, to make it not seem so bad. Like I didn't look at her. I couldn't stomach to see her face. Talking about smothering Bella and Cece. But the truth of it is, when it comes down to it, he still did what he did. And no one set him up. I mean, you act like there was like 10 people there. Like, yeah, okay. Troy McCoy gonna give up his whole life to help Chris Watts in a murder. Huh, okay. And then let's see, Cody and what's the other kid's name? Chad. They're all going to give up their families and their freedom and their lives to help Chris, right? You're fucking stupid, man. No one is going to ever give up their freedom and help anyone hide bodies. I'm sorry, they're not going to. I don't care how close of friends you are. Hell, half the people don't even do it for their family. Why would they do it for Chris Watts? Because you people are looking for any excuse you can to not make Chris seem like that big a monster. Like, oh, well, it wasn't his fault. His phone didn't show up till 9 o'clock in the morning. He'd been there since like 6:50 in the morning. Well, let me tell you something, delusional Dave. If you don't have service in one spot, well, okay, I'm going to lay my phone down in my truck and I'm going to use the one that's got service. If you don't have service, guess what, delusional Dave? Nothing registers until you move. And when you move, you find a spot and boom, you might have some bars. You might have some service. And I believe his phone did not pick up signal until that moment. The phones were not separated. That's just another pitiful excuse that you came up with in your drunk little pea brain to try and make your hero look like he'd been framed. He wasn't fucking framed. He killed his family and he did it alone. You understand that? He did not have help. The only help I believe that he had was from his little whore, Nicole, when they disposed the bodies and transported them. That is it. When Shanann walked upstairs, first, let me back up. Shanann got home. She went upstairs. She saw he was not there. They had talked Friday. She thought, damn, he's talking to me. So her next step was, well, I'll go down to the basement and I'll see if he'll talk to me. I'm home now. Let him know I'm here. She walked downstairs to the basement. He got her in a chokehold and shoved her through the window. And Nicole pulled her through the window from the other side as he shoved her through. He climbed up through the window, went across the yard, threw her in the back of what's her name, Nicole's truck. And I believe she really went down there to find out where Cece was. And I believe he did suffocate the girls in bed. And I do believe that Bella did wake back up. And I do believe that Shanann got home, went to check on the girls, and she saw that Cece was not in her bed, but Bella was. So she went downstairs to say, hey, where the hell is Cece? He'd already had her stuffed in the refrigerator by that time. And when she walked down those stairs, that's when he got her in the chokehold. He got her from behind. And that's what caused all of it. And I believe that the reason why we see little Bella on the TV screen that AD did find is because he had already put Cece in the back of the truck with Shanann. And I believe Bella rode with him out to Survey. And I believe that once she got out there, she stayed in the seat for a few moments and she saw what she saw with her sister being dropped in the tank. And that's why she asked him, the same thing that just happened to Cece going to happen to me? And he said yes. And then he suffocated her. And I believe that wholeheartedly. I don't believe that he strangled her in the bed. I think he used a sheet from the bed to say that he did and to try to dispose of her body and to carry her body and to hide her body a little bit out the back window because there's no cameras out the back door. I believe that's what happened. And I believe little Miss Nicole was there, and Jim was there to support Nicole every step of the way. I really do. I could be wrong. Who knows? And also, Dave, I want to tell you this too. you fucking dumb monkey. It does not matter if grandparents' rights exist in Colorado or not. Let me tell you what does matter. What does matter is if you die and your next of kin is your husband and he's in jail, they cannot use him to give permission for any type of anything. Okay? So the next of kin they're going to use is the mother or the father if they're still alive. So with Chris being already detained, you know, for all this and already in jail, they could not ask him to do anything with baby Nico. So what they did is they asked Sandy because she was the next of kin. It had absolutely nothing to do with grandparent rights, you idiot. It's not for fucking visitation, you stupid swamp donkey. If you're gonna sit there and talk shit, at least try to have a little bit of common sense of what you're talking about. So for you to sit there and say that Sandy lied on national TV is a real slap in the face to people who are smart and know how the system works. And I'm sorry, Dave, that you're so stupid and you're so pathetic and you're so desperate for people to give you money. But you gotta give truth where truth is due. Well, that's it. And I'm telling you right now, you can either believe me or don't believe me, wipe your ass with it, I don't care. But when someone dies or is murdered, and you have to have things done to a little baby that's not been born yet, the next of kin always gets that decision. Shanann cannot give the decision. Do you know why? Because she's dead. Chris could not give no rights to do anything. Do you know why? Because he's in jail. He can't sign off on anything. He's in jail. So who does that leave? I'm sorry, Dave, as much as you don't want to believe it, that was in Sandy's hands. She did too have to tell them, yes, it's okay to do whatever you need to do to prove the baby was alive. And yes, you can take the baby and do the blood work to make sure that, to let the world know that yes, Chris Watts was that baby's daddy. I mean, yeah, she did. So for you to sit there and make up such stupid shit like you know what you're talking about, you sound like a stupid swamp donkey. You don't even know what you're talking about. If I was to die right now because of my husband, okay, and he's my next of kin, but they haul him off to jail, the next of kin is going to be my mother. Well, hello, my mother's dead. So who's going to be the next of kin then? Then it's my father, and so forth. I mean, you got to understand that, Dave. So for you to sit there and say that Sandy lied, you don't know what you're talking about. Chris could not give permission to do anything with baby Nico because he was in jail. Shanann couldn't because she was dead. So the next of kin would have been Sandy. And if Sandy would have been unavailable or deceased, it would have been Frank. So if you're going to run your mouth and talk, at least know what you're talking about and stop calling people liars. You're the fucking liar. You're the liar. Chris Watts is the liar. Let's see, I can keep going. Roll over, Ronnie's the liar. And that evil psycho Cindy for sure is a liar. Cindy is like evil, She's like this demonic thing walking around. She's so evil, she doesn't know what to do with herself. And you sit there and you defend that. You're disgusting. All of you are disgusting. To sit there and make such disparaging comments about the Rusek family. Leave them people alone. Let them grieve. And another thing, this case is like almost, 5 years old, okay? It's over. There's nothing else you can do. There's nothing else you can find out. There's nothing else to find out. It's done. It's over with. Let it be. Why won't you people let that woman That poor woman who was viciously murdered and her poor little children and that poor little unborn baby who did not have a fighting chance. Why don't you let them rest? There's all kinds of cases out there, like, I don't know, what the Nicola Booley case. There's that one. There's you know, that Gannon Stout case. I mean, there's so many different things you could be doing, but you're not. You're just torturing a poor family that just wants to move on with their lives. And who gives a rat's ass if they have 10 GoFundMe's? What's it your fucking business, mate? It's not. Go, if you're so jealous of their GoFundMe, go make you fucking one. It's none of your business. You have no idea what the Rusak family actually goes through because of people like you, Dave, and because of the disgusting, evil monsters like Cindy and Ronnie. I mean, you have no freaking idea what they go through. You really don't. You sit there and act like they're the victims. I've never seen a grown old ass man like you ever sit back and try to make a victim out of the victims. Or, like you're trying to literally make Chris a victim of his victim. Why would you do that? Are you that sick in the freaking head? Are you that obsessed with him? I mean, good God, man, move on with your life. Leave him alone. If you're so infatuated with Chris Watts, Mr. Dave, why don't you write him a letter and tell him how badly you'd like to suck his cock? I mean, wasn't he found, like, in some other guy's cell with, like, petroleum jelly and a pair of boxes in it that didn't belong to him? I mean, didn't they have to separate him from another man? I mean, I'm sure you can swing that way. I've always heard gay for the stay, so I'm sure he might give you a shot, especially the way you suck on his mother and his father, and the way you uphold them against everything and everybody. Like they can do no wrong, they can say no wrong. You're just disgusting, man. You're just disgusting. You really need like punched in the mouth, really, honestly. I wouldn't say like hit you with a car, but like close to it. I mean, you're just a horrible person, Dave. You really are. And it's sad because at one point, back like 2 years ago, before you started sexually harassing everyone and AD had to put you in your place, I kind of liked you. I thought you were kind of funny. But then you started like sending nasty pictures of yourself to women and you started sending nasty texts to women and like you were sexually harassing people. And AD told you, if you don't stop, I'm going to get you locked up because I got all these screenshots against you. And like you weren't really talking really bad about like anybody. But then, like, you got with the Watts, and you have just changed. You're sickening now. I don't like you at all now. You've just changed. Your whole demeanor, your whole attitude, everything about you has changed, Dave. And it's changed for the worse. I do not like you anymore. I mean, I forgave you, for like the nasty text and the nasty photos you sent everybody. I was like, well, he was probably drunk, drunk Dave. I forgave you for that. And you came back and you apologized, and it was pretty easy to forgive you for that, but now you're just like you're so different. You talk so badly about the Rusek family, and that really bothers me because that's a family in grieving, and the whole time, like all this is going on, they cannot sit down and have a cup of tea and talk about their daughter without picking up a phone and seeing something from like you or just everybody. I mean, it's time to let it go, honestly. It's sad. It's a horrific thing that went on that Chris did. And I know it's hard to accept, but he did it. And he told everyone he did it. It's just time to let it go. Let the fucking Rusek family grieve. Okay? Stop with the nonsense. Stop talking about that. If you're going to talk about the case, that's fine. But don't sit there and talk about their daughter. Do not sit there and make up lies and listen to lies from Psycho Cindy and then spread it around. Don't do that. It's horrible. It's horrible enough that they never get to see their daughter. And it just makes it so much harder when people like you sit there and say such horrible things about their dead daughter. And you say, well, the Watts family are just as sad. No, they're not. How dare you? And let me tell you why they're not, okay? A little common sense, Dave. They can go on Christmas Eve, go to that prison, walk through those doors, and sit down and have a hamburger with their son. They can watch their son age. They can hear his voice and touch him, feel him hug them and embrace them. They can smell him. They can look in his eyes. They can hear his voice. He gets to call them anytime he wants to. He gets the letters. They get to visit him on his birthday. They get to visit him on Thanksgiving. Or just whenever they feel like visiting him. They have their son, Dave. You understand that? What does the Rusek family got? Let's be honest, okay? Let me back up just a little bit. Cindy and Ronnie also have Jamie's kids, who are their grandchildren, to kind of soften the blow that they lost three. What does Sandy and Frankie got? They got photos, Dave. They got old, outdated photos. Do you understand? They don't get to smell their daughter. They don't get to walk up and hug her. They don't get to hear her voice unless they listen to an old Facebook post. They don't get to see any pictures. They don't get to watch their daughter grow old. The Watts get that. So how can you or anyone sit there on this platform and say wholeheartedly, well, the Watts are hurting just as much as the Ruseks? You fucking gone mad? Or you just not got common sense? Any of you? Like, honestly, it's sad that you people just harass and poke and poke and poke and post and make video after video after video of that dead girl and her children, and then sit there and compare the agony and the pain from one set of parents to another. They lost everything, Dave. They lost their only daughter. They lost their only granddaughters. They lost their son. What did the what did the Watts really lose? Honestly. Yeah, he's in prison. Not like no different than living in Colorado though, right? Right. So they didn't actually lose him. They can go visit that monster anytime they want to. And they pick up the phone and he's there at the other end of the phone, they can hear his voice. The only thing they really lost was their granddaughters and their grandson. But they have backups, you know? They got spares. Jamie's kids. Poor Sandy and Frank don't have that. And they damn sure don't get to watch their daughter grow old. Get gray hair for the first time. Turn 37. Turn 40. Turn 45. Turn 50. They don't get that. But the Watts do. They get that with their son. So when you go comparing one person's pain and agony to the next, sit there and think about that for a moment, because you sound like a fool when you say it. And I think anyone who has any type of empathy or soul at all, or has lost someone that they truly love, a parent, a child, a grandchild, a brother, a sister, a mother, doesn't matter. When you've really lost someone that you love, you can't replace that, you know? And it gets a little bit tiring looking at same old photos. And you know what else? My mother's been dead for 2 years, and I swear as so hard as I try not to forget her voice, I am. It's so hard for me to remember what she sounded like. My grandfather's been dead for like 15 years, and I can kind of still remember what he sounded like screaming my name across the room. But it's so hard because I'm losing it. And my dear brother, I lost him 22 years ago, and I could not tell you what his voice sounded like. And it's so heartbreaking because I loved my brother so much. And he's gone. So why don't you think about that before you go running your mouth, Dave? Some people do have a heart, you know. Just because the Watts do not and you don't doesn't mean that the whole world doesn't. Stop being a disgusting fuck, okay? Quit being a disgusting piece of shit, Dave. Oh, before I forget, yes, I wanted to bring this up too. You you said something about, the purse magically appeared. I do recall N.I. saying that it was in the oh, what was it, the office? And so what if they went in there and brought it out? I'm glad they did, because had they not had, they would have never even frickin' known that her purse wasn't there, and they would have thought that her purse walked out the door with her when it didn't. So you need to stop saying she was involved too, because she was not involved. Dave, you're just a piece of shit. You'll always be a piece of shit, and I hope you take my advice and sit there and think about it for a moment before you sit there and compare one person's pain to another. Put yourself in their shoes for one moment and think about it because you sound fucking stupid, mate. They get to hug their son, see their son grow old. Remember that. They got a tombstone for their daughter. So I'm probably going to end it right there. And Dave, I'm sure I'll hear back from you. I'm sure I'll get an email from your mod. And you know what? The next nasty email your mods write me, I'm going to put it on my Facebook channel. And I'm going to call you all out. And we're going to get it out in the open. Because, Dave, don't forget, I do know AD, and I do know I got some screenshots from your penis, and I've got all the dirty texts from all the women you tried to sexually harass. So before you start, coming down on me and sending me nasty emails again, you better remember what I can do to you, buddy. All right, then. Have a good day. Bye.